This video is going to be kind of a downer. So if you don't want to see this, that's fine. Just don't watch it and wait for the next video to come. So I was actually encouraged to do a video like this by another YouTuber, Ramsay, and you should really check out his channel anyway. But last week was Mental Health Awareness Day, and he made a video sharing his experiences about depression, and I really want to do a similar thing. I don't have a clinical depression. I never was diagnosed with depression or something like this. However, I had some very dark phases in life that certainly felt like depression. That probably really were depression. I just never went to the doctor. But anyway, I want to share a little bit about this and experiences that I made in this time, because it's important to be aware of this. And there are so many people, like really much more probably than I and you think, that are dealing with low self-esteem, depression, or other kind of mental illnesses. And often this feeling goes along with shame and embarrassment. People don't want to talk about this because they are afraid that people label them as weak and as I think people are afraid, I'm afraid, that people are not taking me seriously anymore because I'm dealing with some kind of depression. I think the first experience with depression that I made was when I was a teenager and I went through a breakup, and looking back it was not really a very big thing, but in that situation for me it was. And it was so painful for me that I actually started to, I started to be very self-destructive, giving room to very unhealthy behavior. So I smoked like crazy. I went out in the cold for very long. I did have suicidal thoughts already at that time, and I think that's not really because of the breakup, but just the things that kind of rose up because, like, being triggered by the breakup. I think I would never commit suicide, but I certainly had those thoughts, and I was self-destructive. I took my cigarettes and I turned them off on my hand. Actually, I have a scar. I'm not sure if you can see here, like a scar. So this was my first experience, and it was very dark. And I probably did this because I just wanted to feel something different than like this black atmosphere, this dark mood I was in. I got over it, and I'm not even sure how. And some years later, I had similar phases like this, where I just was so depressed. I just didn't want to wake up anymore in the morning. I just didn't want to go out and do things. I kind of withdrew just in my own room, just like being alone. That was what I wanted, just being alone for myself. But the last time I felt depressed, and I felt I was in a very difficult stage, was in the Philippines actually. And I'm also not sure if I really want to label this as depression, but it was a time where it's basically like you see everything in life through a gray curtain. Like everything you see is colorless, is black and white, there is no joy, there is no motivation. I didn't want to engage with people. Again, I just went to my room and closed the door, and basically didn't go out for like days, just for the most necessary stuff. I didn't do my job at this time, and this had a few reasons. That was the time when we left Samar, the island in the Philippines where we lived for a while. And that was painful for me. I loved the people there. I was overwhelmed being there, but it was also just a beautiful time, and being kind of pulled out there was painful. And I never really arrived in Manila, the place where we moved to. And probably this also triggered just what was deeper inside already. I'm not sure if you experienced something like this. Maybe you did. I didn't have any motivation. I didn't have any joy. It is so... I never thought, in this time I never really thought about like suicide and stuff. And I really wanted to get out of this place, and maybe that was the asset of mine, that was a good first step. I really wanted to get out of this. And it was actually through a friend of mine who brought awareness to this issue. A friend of mine from Germany visited us in the Philippines, and he's a great guy. He has a YouTube channel too. If you're a German speaker, go to Benny Moose, or if you're English, the German Moose. He's a great guy, and he's so full of joy and motivation and going out and excitement and stuff. He kind of showed me a mirror, basically, and he, like, being together with him showed me how different I was, and how it was just very cringy atmosphere, actually. But through this time I learned there's something is wrong, and I want to go back to the place I was in before. I want to feel joy again. I want to feel excitement again. I want to have motivation again. And I did a few things that really helped me. And this is not supposed to be a deep advice or something, because I'm not a professional. I don't know too much about like the psychological things and the physical things about depression and burnout and all those different kind of things. But what helped me very much was exercise. I really started to work out. You can look back in the channel even and see the first videos that I did in that time. Working out, having this sense of accomplishment every day, that helped me so much. So I went out in the morning to run or to go to the gym, and this gave me a deep sense of accomplishment. I learned that I'm not really lazy or something, that I really can do something. And maybe that saved me at that time, like doing stuff. Because I couldn't do my work, I couldn't be together with people, so I worked out, and that worked out for me. And another thing that I did, and I think maybe that's even more important, I got some help. I went to a counselor or a psychotherapist. I'm not even sure how he would call himself, but he's a professional. He knows his mental business, and I sat together with him for a full week. Like, we had sessions every day, and we talked about how I felt. And he never really talked about what happened in the last years, or the things that happened. And I thought maybe that's the reason I was depressed, like the leaving Samar and moving to Manila and being kind of in between worlds. But actually what he taught me is that just through this stress of being in another country and everything, things came out that were there before, but I could always cope with it. At least for most of the time, and then I couldn't anymore. And we worked on things, and I learned about myself that I have an identity problem, that I just don't know who I am.
I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are.
Or don't really feel who I am, like always having this kind of self-doubt, and not really having a deep sense of identity, sense of self. If you want to take this as an advice, get help. Talk to somebody. Talk to a good friend. Talk to somebody who you feel safe with, not judged or not ridiculed or anything. Somebody who's just listening. Or even better, if you have the opportunity, go to somebody who really knows about mental health and who could really help you and ask the right questions. That helped me so much. And it gave me a positive outview. It gave me a direction. And I really knew what I could work at. Like working on my sense of self, learning about myself, learning who I am, about which areas I am competent in, or which areas I feel confident I am competent in, like all this kind of things. I know that sounds a little bit weird maybe for you. I hope you can still take something out of it. And that was so important for me from this couple of months that I feel so dark and so depressed and so sad. To really want to grow, to really want to develop. Yeah, it was so good for me to learn also from this counselor that I'm not alone, that there are so many people struggling with identity, struggling with a sense of self. And at some point that really comes out. At some point you just can't cope anymore. And there are many people, maybe they seem healthy mentally for a while, but then maybe it's at some point, by the age of 50 or something, they will have a crisis and it comes out, and this can be so painful. And so I just wish anybody, everybody, that they have somebody to talk to, that they have somebody that can help them to really work through this time and to really develop a healthy self-esteem, a healthy sense of self, a healthy pride as well. Another thing that actually helped me was YouTube, you guys. I started this YouTube channel because it also gave me something that I was kind of good at, or something that I enjoyed doing. And I started this out and I got feedback from you, and that really helped me too, so much to have something to do and to learn new things and new skills, probably that all helped me mentally to get out of this dark place. And I was thinking so much about our friends in the Philippines, because you guys, you Filipinos, you go through so many traumas. Many of our friends went through so difficult times. There are natural disasters, and that they can take away everything from them. Like, we had friends in summer, they lost literally everything except their lives. Like their houses, even their children, all their possessions. One friend of ours, she was pregnant when the big typhoon Yolanda hit, and they lost really everything. Through this big wave that came in, and through all the stress in this time, she lost her child, like the child that was in her belly. And since that time, she got pregnant a few times, and she always loses her baby again. And she's poor, so she can't really afford a counselor or psychotherapy or something. But there are so many traumas that she's going through, and it's so hard to really work through this and to really stay healthy mentally. So really, if you're seeing this, find somebody to talk to, find somebody who understands and who can help you to not just suck it up, but to really work through these things. Because a depression or mental health issues is not a joke. It's not that different from physical diseases as well. It's hard stuff. And I'm a Christian too, and that certainly helped. I know Jesus, I love Jesus, and I know that Jesus loves me. And though that was not actually the thought or the thing that really saved me in the dark time, it certainly helped very much to know there's somebody who knows what's inside of me, who understands and who loves me anyway, who just loves me unconditionally. And that's actually what my relationship with Jesus is all about. He just loves me so unconditionally, and that's a beautiful thing. Guys, I know this is not a fun video. This is not this enjoy your life wherever you are kind of video, but this comes in too. All this kind of positivity and learning new things, or if you watch the last video, like being a tourist in my own country and stuff, this all helps me to be mentally healthy, to develop, to grow as a person, to stay positive, and to not give room or to not allow myself to get depressed. Well, maybe that's wrong. No, I don't want to say this like this, because if you are depressed, you shouldn't just fake it till you make it. You should be honest. You should have somebody to be honest to, or to be honest with. But you know, to do positive things and to experience a sense of accomplishment, that's actually what helps me very much. And to make videos and to be positive and to also spread a positive message, it's just part of who I want to be and who I actually am without depression or without mental health issues. And guys, I'm not really depressed. Like, I'm also not depressed right now. I'm doing okay. But being back here in Germany is stressful for me too. So I experience that I don't really belong here anymore, but I also don't really belong in the Philippines. So it's kind of, I'm in between worlds again, but I really want to arrive here in Germany, and that takes a couple of weeks or months. So it's a stressful time. But I really work on my routines, on my habits, to have the sense of self, to have the sense of accomplishment. I'm continuing making videos for you guys. I'm working out, but I also see that I give room to unhealthy habits again because it's stressful, like smoking, for example. I learned so much through these times of depression. Like, looking back, it's so good actually And I don't want to be disrespectful for any of you guys who is experiencing depression right now. But looking back, I'm thankful for this experience because it taught me a lot about myself. It brought me to a position of devastation, I would say, probably. So that I just didn't know how to continue anymore, which led to me looking for help, which led to somebody who's really telling me what's going on inside of me, asking good questions, really helping me out and pointing me in the right direction. And that's maybe where I am right now. That's what I wish you too, to have a good friend, a person in life who really loves you. Friends, that's actually it. So if you want to, you can share this video. If there was something you could take away, and if you know somebody who could use this, feel free to just share it. That's why I'm making this video. Feel free not to as well. Thank you for hanging in with me. Thank you for listening to me. Even though this was not really an exciting video, I hope you can feel my heart a little bit, that I try to be authentic and to be honest and to share this with you, to be vulnerable as well. And hopefully this could be a help for maybe just even one of you guys. Mental Awareness Day. I think it's a beautiful thing that nowadays people are getting more and more aware that there are mental issues and that they have to be taken seriously, and that there is also a way out, and that you're not alone with it. If you are experiencing something like this, I'm not a professional and I can't really help deeply. If you want, if you feel brave enough to do so, write this down in the comments and let's talk about stuff. I'm also happy to learn from you and to listen to your experiences there. Okay guys, that's it from me. I just see you again in the next video. Bye.